Hey Francis, if you can hear me, try to turn off your video.
Yes,
Click
I
that
can
little.
hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Click that little circle with the lines and the yellow dot, and it should show you how to. It should say turn on video.
I can see you.
Yeah, you gotta turn on your video.
Okay, now how to turn it on again?
I think I just sent you.
It looks like it's turned on though. Except access, maybe.
It's what?
Okay, there we go. Can you see me?
No.
You can't. I'm seeing myself and I see you.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing myself and I can see you.
That's so weird.
I'm gonna hit accept again. Maybe that'll do it, but
There you go.
okay. Hey.
All right. All right. So let's just go ahead and get started. It's 7 o'clock. Hi, Woody. Thanks for joining us. So, welcome to Fireside, Francis.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, this is cool. So, guys, I'm Keisha Nicole. I am the host of the Oh Hell No podcast and the Side Talk podcast, and I am new to Fireside. I've been using it for a little bit, and I've only got like 2 episodes up on here, so I want to put some more content out here. But I do have, a website for my podcast, which is ohhellnopodcast.com. So go check me out. I'm on all, anywhere where you can listen to a podcast, I'm there. And it's the Oh Hell No podcast. And my podcast is really about connecting with people who are doing jobs or side hustles that they're really passionate about. Passion is driving them to do these things, and they're also helping people through their work. So I connect with them platform. And I just think it's inspiring. It's also motivating to hear these people share their stories of how they stumbled upon their passion and how they're doing this work that is purpose driven and they're helping others. So tonight I invited Frances Jones to come on the podcast on Fireside. She was recently a guest on my Side Talk podcast, which has not aired yet. But she is an author, she's an entrepreneur, and she really focuses on infertility issues. And this week is Infertility Awareness Week, which I had no idea it existed. And Frances, told me about this. So I thought it was a great opportunity for her to come on and for us to chat a little bit about her, what she's doing, how she's helping people, and just give some tips on infertility. And infertility is an issue that affects all of us, right? It affects everyone. So again, welcome, Frances. Please introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about you and about the work that you do currently.
Awesome. Thank you. So thank you, Keisha, once again for having me on this show. I am so excited to be able to talk to the audience because, infertility is a major thing. And a lot of times we don't think about it. So before I even get into all of that, my name is Frances Jones. I'm a best-selling author of the book, Overcoming the Emotional Stigmas of Infertility, Barren but Not Ashamed. That is a detailed story of my over 20-year journey of never being able to have children. Came from a very fertile family. And so infertility never entered into my mind that, hey, I would be dealing with this. So because of everything that I went through, I found purpose and passion in the pain that had experienced. And so I became a life purpose coach, transformational coach, focusing in infertility as a specialty. And all of that came about because of the hardship that I went through. And so that's a little about me, and how I came into helping people with infertility.
Okay. So I'm just putting your website in the fortune cookie. So just give me a second. Okay. All right. So you wrote a book, and in your book, you talk about your struggles, and you share some advice with everyone. So tell us a little bit about your book.
Okay. So my book, it starts off talking about family, my foundation, and why having a huge family was so important to me. I came from a place of a lot of love. My family, we were poor, we were sharecroppers. And so, you know, back in the day when farming was really big in the Black community, as it used to be, um, people would have children a lot in order to help with the land, help with the farms. That was just part of their heritage, part of their livelihood. And so I ended up going through a phase in my life. I don't even want to call it a phase. It was a turmoil in my life because coming from a fertile family as I had, my mom, she conceived 10 times. She had a sister that conceived 10. She had another sister that conceived 7 times. And all of my sisters had, children. Now, you think about all of that, and then I'm the only one that was never able to conceive at all. So I looked at myself as damaged goods. I'm like, what have I done wrong to cause this to come upon me? You know how we go down the blame game because you don't know why. It doesn't make sense. So you look at yourself. And that's
Yeah.
what I did. So I wrote the book. It talks about family, why, how my family, my mom and dad, they were such wonderful people, and the family values that they instilled in us, instilled in me. And that made me want to be able to take what they taught me and give it to my children, raise them the way I was raised, with love, with respect. Respect was huge in my family. And so I want traditions, some of those same values, and pass them on to my children. I married my husband. He had full custody at the time of a 4.5-year-old daughter. When I married him a year later, instant mom, right? Full time. Now, we never used the word step in my family because that just seemed like a disconnect. I gave my daughter the option of what she wanted to call me. And so I never told her to call me mom. She started calling me mom before my husband and I married. And he's like, "Ooh, don't do that. Don't want to scare her off." But see, the whole thing about the book is all about family and all of the heartache I went through trying to be a second mom and the conflict that arose there. Not being able to have children and being rejected by the only child that I had because of the conflict. And so now I'm not able to have children. The only child that I have is rejecting me or at least pulling away from me. So now I'm going through even more hurt, even more pain. And then watching all of my family members have children. All of that compiled together meant Francis was hurting. And the big thing about it is that I hid it. So my book is to let the world know that even though you're going through heartache and pain, you don't have to lie about it. You don't have to hide it. You can get through it because you can find strength within yourself. So my book, it goes and it talks even back in generations long ago, how infertility impacted those that were dealing with it back in biblical days. I went and
Wow.
did the discovery journey and I found out that there's a portion where the high priest back in the day, it was actually Mary, the mother of Jesus, her parents, her mom, Anna, was infertile. And so her husband was ostracized because his wife couldn't have children. He wasn't even allowed to come into the temple. They were criticized, they were mistreated. And so I believe that same shame that the women carried then because it was embarrassment to the husband that women couldn't have children, I believe that same shame carries forward today. And so my book, it talks about all those different things and it talks about how I was able to find healing and how I was able to get free from that negativity. So it's to bring light to people who are dealing with infertility and to bring awareness to those who've never dealt with infertility. So when they are having conversations with us, they won't say things that are insensitive. Sometimes they mean well, but sometimes their words hurt. So my book
Yeah,
awareness, yeah.
absolutely. What is the name? Tell everyone the name of your book so they can check it out.
Okay, the name of my book is Overcoming the Emotional Stigmas of Infertility, Barren but Not Ashamed. And the reason I chose that title is because in not just the Black community, but in the community of women, ethnicities, there are some stigmas that say that it's easy to get pregnant. There are some stigmas that say, oh, you should be okay just because you can't have children. There are a lot of stigmas that's tied to infertility. And I want to break that. I want to break those barriers and tear those stigmas down.
So one thing that popped into my head as you were talking today is that you didn't realize that you had infertility issues, but
Right.
you got married to someone who came with a child.
Mhm.
And because you were so in your head about, getting pregnant and having a baby, like you didn't even maybe think that this might be God's way of saying, you need to do this. Like you need to this is what you need to focus on. But because we're like, okay, I want to have a baby. Like this is my baby too, but I want to have a baby as well. I want to feel what it feels like to have a baby because that's what most women say. Is they want to carry their own child. And honestly, I don't know why because it's like a lot, right? You go through pain. You some people almost die. Some people literally die. Like it is no joke, but I get it. You wanna have that feeling. You want to be able to say you carried your own child. But looking back, do you ever feel like you kind of took that opportunity right there for granted in the beginning because you didn't realize maybe the I always think that there are signs and God shows us things and gives us things. And sometimes we miss it because we're just focused other places. Do you ever look back and say, well, that could have been God's way of initially giving me a child right off the bat as soon as I, got with this man. But I was too busy focused on trying to have a baby that I didn't even realize, like, maybe this is what it's going to be for now. Do you feel like that happened to you?
No, no, I didn't because I was really happy with my new child, my new daughter, and we were very, very close. I wanted to be able to give her siblings because she was the only child and she was always a loner. And so, I wanted to be able to build that family. Like I said, I came from a large family, so I wanted to give her what I had. I
Mm,
wanted to have that same livelihood and having someone she could tell secrets to and play with. And so no, I didn't think that, this is a sign that God was giving me because I just knew I would be able to have children. Not knowing that now there were signals that I was being receiving in my body as far as pain was concerned. There were signs that was telling me that something wasn't right, but I did not recognize those signs because I wasn't educated. I didn't talk to people. And so that actually became a barrier. And I believe strongly that if I had been more open and felt free to share with my parent, my mom, my sister, to let them know what was going on, I believe a lot of that could have been prevented, perhaps. But like
right.
you said, things happen and you just never know really why.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So you said that there were signs that you were having in your body. What should women who are like in their 20s and their 30s be paying attention to as far as signs that might be a telltale that they might have fertility issues? Can you
Okay.
share some with us?
Yes, definitely. So, you know, our monthly cycle is a big um, indicator of what could be going on. Like sometimes we have very heavy cycles, right? And we just think, oh, just I'm having a heavy cycle. Let me just, go and sometimes get on birth control pill or I'm having this pain. And Sometimes that can be an indicator that something is going on, and a pill can't always fix it. With me, I was having severe heavy bleeding. I was having severe pain every 2 to 3 days of my cycle. And I did not realize that, even though common sense should have kicked in, I just didn't know. So I would be in so much pain that I would literally have to crawl from one room to the other. So what I would say to women in the 20s and 30s and even early teens, not saying you should be thinking about getting pregnant, but what I'm saying is think about what's going on with your body. Your body will tell you something's wrong. Now, the thing about it is, will you tune in and pay attention to it? We have so much resources now that we can start looking up stuff on the internet. And sometimes we'll go to the doctor, and the doctor will tell us, oh, well, it's just you growing as far as your cycle. Let me put you on birth control for the pills, for the pain. But do your own homework. Advocate for yourself. Just don't be so quick to say, oh, okay, I'm going to take a pill. Understand why. Why this pill is supposed to help you. What could this pill do to you in the future? Know your body. Educate yourself. And if there's something that doesn't feel right, go with that gut feeling. We say that, trust your gut. Don't blow it off. Don't say, well, I have a magic pill that's going to fix my problem. No, understand and start talking to someone. Someone may have the answer to your problem that you need to know.
So what should men be doing? Because in some instances it's not the woman, it's the man, right?
Yeah.
So is there a certain age that men should look into making sure that they're okay when it comes to their reproductive situation? Is there a certain, I don't know, checklist or anything for men in terms of making sure that they're okay? I mean, based on your research, did you find anything?
Yes, I did. And, I should have put this disclaimer out here first. I am not a medical professional.
Right.
So I'm not giving medical advice, but I am giving information based off of experience that I have had, as
Mhm.
well as research, as you have said, I've done. So
Right.
when it comes to men, yes, there are indicators that men could be having issues. What I read is that if there are issues going on with your sperm, your ejaculations, it could be
Hmm.
an indication that there's something going on. A lump near the testicle area, that could be an indication that something's going on. And there are other different things, and there's so much information on the internet that you can look up, but these are a couple of the things. So let me tell you a little bit about my husband. My husband, at age maybe 19, he was planning on going into the military, and this, of course, before I met him. And so when he was getting ready to do his physical, the medical doctor saw that something was wrong. And so for years, he had the information that it was prostate cancer. He was talking to his mom recently. She has the medical records, and it said it was a prostate infection. But either way, they saw something was wrong at age 19. And so he was able to have surgery based off of that.
Hmm.
And they told him it's a possibility he wouldn't be able to have children. But he was able to have children because of course, he had a daughter. And so when I got pregnant, I'm sorry, when I was trying to get pregnant and he was basically going through semen analysis, found out that there was nothing wrong with him. So my thing is this: if a man smokes, especially as a heavy smoker, that could impact his ability in the future to have children. If a man, basically, like I said, is having low ejaculations, that's an indication. So, men, you have to pay attention to your body just like women do. You have to understand that if something doesn't feel right, then go and get it checked out. Basically, for infertility, if a woman is trying to have a child, and let's say 6 months pass and she has not gotten pregnant, she hasn't been on birth control pills, well, that's an indication that she needs to go and get checked out. With a male, I've read it's 12 months. So if 12 months, there's been no protection. That's an indication that something needs to be checked out. But it's all about paying attention to your body. And if you feel like something's not right, go find out.
So with your business, you do life coaching and you help women, and your focus is infertility. So how are some ways that you are helping women navigate their way through these issues that they face? Because infertility is like a big issue, and it's such a sensitive thing. So what are you doing to help women and men? Couples.
Yes, exactly. So there are two parts to what I do as it relates to infertility. One is I help with the emotional side of infertility because that's what really impacts the family the most. That's what really impacts the couple, the wife, the woman, and so much because all these emotions and they don't know what to do with them. And so I help navigate them through tools and techniques and different type of discussions to get the word out of their heart. You know what I'm saying? Getting the pain out of their heart. I help them with those emotions and help them to be able to, the second thing, to make a decision on what they want to do. So let's say, as an example, that a couple come to me and they're dealing with infertility. Well, the first thing they want to know, or I try to help them with, what is your goal? What do you really want to do? Because I don't tell them what to do. My situation is different than theirs, and every person is different. So first, I had a couple as an example that came to me, and they were unsure if they wanted to continue having fertility treatments or if they wanted to let it go. And so I took them through this exercise where it helped them to make the decision. Some people decide to stay child free and they need to know how to deal with it because family members are pressuring them to have children. So to help get past that, give them tools and techniques. Some people decide that they want to adopt. And some people decide that adoption is such an insult because, I want to be able to have my own child. Don't tell me to adopt like adoption is a band-aid. It's not a quick fix. Some people decide to do fertilization treatments, IUI. They try to do in vitro. Some people decide to get surrogates, someone to carry their children for them. When I was dealing with infertility, my fertility specialist, he started me off taking fertility drugs to try to stimulate my hormones and stimulate my follicles and my ovaries. And so he also, after he saw that that wasn't working, we just went to the next phase, which was IUI. And so I don't know if your audience know anything about IUI, but IUI is basically getting a woman in a position where her body is producing more eggs to increase the chances of her conceiving. And so the male, of course, would have to provide sperm and then they wash the sperm. And then once the woman eggs are mature, they turn around and take that sperm and insert it in the woman and try to fertilize the eggs. So that didn't work for us. And then the next phase we were going to go through was in vitro. But of course, because of the finances, we weren't able to do that. But it's so many different options that women and men can do. There's donor eggs. My doctor recommended that. And that didn't feel right to me because I wanted my child, if I'm going to conceive, I wanted my child to have my husband and my genes. And so that didn't work for me. So it's so many different things. So what I do is I navigate them through what feels right for them. And then they make the decision whether they want to take step A, step B, step C, step D.
Okay. All right. So, do you want to tell us where we can pick up your book and where we can connect with you so that if anyone is looking for this kind of counseling or help, that they can get in touch with you?
Yes. So you can go to my website. It's Heart, HEART, Desires, DESIRES, coaching, COACHING.com. You can also get my book there. My book is on many online retail stores, but there's also a link that you can get the book there. And so I would love to be able to connect because the thing about it is infertility should never be handled alone. The hurt and the pain can actually cause a person to go in depression if they're not careful. And so I'm not a counselor, but I am a coach and I help with those emotions because I can, because I've been there and I understand the hurt that goes along with it. And so just being able to have a different mindset, the words that we speak, and I didn't share this, but the words that we speak can impact the way our body works. So be
Mhm.
careful what we say, be careful what we think, be careful how we believe, because all of that can impact your ability to conceive.
Yeah, and I love the part about, excuse me, where you said, as friends and families, that we have to be careful what we say to people who don't have children yet. Saying things like, when are you going to have a baby? Or, oh, are you guys trying? Or, you better hurry up and things like that. You never know what people's
Mm.
journeys are. So you need to be a little bit sensitive to that and maybe not be so damn nosy and pushy, and just let people kind of go through whatever they're going through. And when they decide to have a child, if they decide to have a child, because I'm also an advocate for women or couples who decide that they don't want kids. I think it's great. I mean, I have children, but if you don't have a child, there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you less than. It doesn't mean that you're not living your best life or having a great experience here on earth. Like, no, So I think that people who do decide for themselves that they don't want to have children, I think that's perfectly fine. I think it's awesome. And I love people who make that decision and own it, like they're like, that's just not what I want, and that's fine. And it is fine.
Yes.
So I think all of it is just your personal preference.
It,
And I love that you're helping people navigate their way through this journey based on your experience. And, I think when you can talk to someone who can relate to your story because they've walked in those shoes, like it just makes it that more impactful.
it does. It does. I just want to touch bases on something you said regarding the conversations. Yes, we must be very compassionate and sensitive about what we say to a person, especially if we know they used to always talk about having kids and they came from a
Mhm.
big family that told, oh, I just love kids. The thing about it is, you don't want to feel like you can't say anything. So if you feel like there's something you want to say, ask them, how can I support you? What do you need from me? And not be so blatant to just say comments because we're family and we're close and we're tight and we can say these different things. We have no idea that a person could be at home putting injections in their body trying to get pregnant, or they're getting their eggs retrieved just so they can get pregnant. And some of these treatments are very painful. And so sometimes I've heard people say, this wasn't said to me, but um, just relax. It'll work. Like, no, don't tell me to relax. You're not in my shoes. You're not dealing with what I'm dealing with. So just be compassionate and be careful of how you say what you say. And ask them, do you want to talk about this? How do you want to talk about this? Approach them with a way of questioning how they want to be spoken with. And that
Right.
will probably go off a lot better than just coming out and saying what's on our mind, because what on our mind can hurt.
Absolutely. I agree. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Ray, for joining and listening in. I appreciate you guys. I just want to tell everyone that the fortune cookie is Frances's website. So if you know anyone going through these issues, it would be great to refer her. She has a book. And she's just trying to help people navigate their way through infertility. So, again, Frances, thank you for joining me on Fireside. This was a great little episode. And, guys, this week is Infertility Awareness Week. So, I didn't know that. I just found this out talking to Frances. So, if there's someone that's struggling with this, do something special for them or something nice to make them feel good.
Yes, yes, that would be beautiful.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you. I'm going to let you get back to your night. And hope to see you guys again soon.
All
Take
right,
care.
bye bye.
Bye bye.